Hey guys, we're here. We're doing a fast thought today with Dwayne Boudreau, and he owns Maritime Good Food. Did I get that right?
You sure did.
Okay, so Maritime Good Food, and we are excited. So we've partnered with Dwayne in the past. If you know the name, he has done some work. He's been in the industry as long as I have, and not quite as long as Kenny has, I think. So somewhere in there. But and most recently he was with Food and Beverage Atlantic. But now he's gone out to do his own thing. So we wanted to bring him on a fast thought just to have a conversation so he can kind of tell us what he's working on. And then I think if you are a if you're a brand and you're looking to expand beyond your region, this is one that you should be listening to for sure, right? Because you should pay attention. So, Dwayne, I'll stop talking. Please introduce yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for doing this, Phil and Ken. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so Dwayne Boudreau, listen, I've spent my entire career between CPG and food service, fast food chains, pharmacy banners, etc. So I have a pretty good sense of the full landscape. But the last few years, it's been so much fun to work with all the members at Food and Beverage Atlantic, literally helping them with understanding how they can develop new sales channels. I've been in enough situations around food production that I can hopefully help make those connections. And so that was a great time. But part of that was also really examining the challenges of distribution and getting your products to shelves. As we all know, getting into local programs with retailers, I mean, it's a relatively easy task to get on the shelf, but then how do I get my product there? And right, like, so I've seen so many entrepreneurs spend an enormous amount of time just driving the highways and getting their product to stores, and that really prevents them from being able to do the important things to grow and scale their business. So when the opportunity came up to introduce a new distribution company to Atlantic Canada, I jumped at it. I may not be able to help as many companies as I did with Food and Beverage Atlantic, but I think I can help some companies a lot more. And in addition to offering that service of getting the product to the shelves across our vast provinces. If you've ever been here, the miles you spend looking out of the windshield is pretty significant. But we also wanted to leave room in our model to allow some of those emerging brands from other regions, explore being able to get their products out across Atlantic Canada. So a nice way to test, I guess, without a lot of risk, how what it's like to be in a market that you don't live in and don't really understand as well, before taking the leap of maybe going to a larger province or even across the country.
I love the idea. So, can we talk coverage for a second? So,
Sure.
like what kinds of retail outlets do you cover? Are there segments that you're after? Like, if people are listening to this, because you know, there's a whole bunch of brands that I think would want to go, say, West Coast and be able to expand,
Mm-hmm.
skip over Ontario for a minute and expand East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, tell us about that. Like,
Yeah.
what
So
retailer? Yeah, sorry, go
sure.
ahead.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's all good. So essentially, we can cover everybody. I think what you'll notice is that in Atlantic Canada, the network of Sobeys banners are probably a little easier to reach. Not that Loblaws isn't. They just their models are so different, right?
Right. Mhm.
Now, what we've been seeing is the No Frills banner has been growing quite extensively across Atlantic Canada, and they offer more flexibility, I think, Um, you know, if you're already listed with any of these banners, then it's a relatively easy task for us to get it to stores. If you're not listed with these banners and you're just looking to test the market in Atlantic Canada, we probably suggest attacking some of our larger independent stores to really get a flavor for demand for the product. They're always going to offer you the best services in store too. Like those specialty stores, as everybody knows, staff are very much more engaged, and you know they're they're in it to win it, right? They want to, they want to learn about these products. They have the same passion as you do for food and bev. It's just harder to accomplish that in the larger banners.
Mm.
So for anyone listening that's outside of Atlantic Canada, I think if you're looking to really find a pathway into some of those specialty food stores, health food stores, we can potentially offer a solution to you.
So are
I
you
like that idea.
off like you're not just box moving then? Like you're a distributor, you're moving boxes clearly. That's what a distributor does. But are you so if like I'm, my brand, my brand's not out there. I don't have a rep out there. I may not want to invest in a broker at this time. So if I'm calling you and saying, hey, listen, would you be willing to distribute? Are you helping me get listings? Are you and a team gonna um, in essence, represent me to some degree, I guess, right? Is it's not just straight just moving boxes, like you've got a full service kind of play?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, how I've been approaching that with folks, and I know this might sound a little quirky, but we really look at it as being part of the family, right? So when we agree to work with you and you agree to work with us, we're in it together, full partnership. So in addition to the basic services of getting boxes delivered,
Right.
you're getting full access to my network as well as my knowledge. I want to see you succeed. That being said, it also needs to be sustainable for you and for us. I have lots of conversations with people about even their pricing models. It's remarkable what a little shift of retail on shelf can do to support offering, the kinds of services you need to grow your business. But again, because of the things I've done in the past, like it's not foreign to me to okay, let's take a look at your cost of goods sold and what's going into that, and are there some other paths that maybe make it a little more profitable for you. I mean, if I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had with people where initially they want their products to be in every store across the country, and then once they understand what's involved with that, they're like, yeah, yeah, you know what, I'm good. I'll stick to my regional. I don't want to, right? I mean, you guys have had the same conversations
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah.
Um,
Multiple. Yeah.
so it's sharing
Yeah.
experiences, it's managing expectations, and it's full transparency, right?
Hmm.
Like
Right.
as I've been doing this, I've been running into situations where I see, different companies approach the business in different ways. And I think that full transparency really, creates that trust and that bond that is needed for us to be able to work collectively together as a family, right? To accomplish some of that success that you're seeking. So it's a little different from the way I think some others have done things, but I truly believe that it's the right way. And yeah, we've had a lot of support so far. Folks have been very encouraging. It's been very validating for me
Nice.
to see the kind of support that we're getting. So yeah, so far so good.
That's awesome. I
No,
really love that.
that's really I like it
Yeah.
too. I like it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Kenny, I was telling Dwayne before we got on this call that one of the things I think, um, could be really smart is, you and I, we know a lot of West Coast brands, um, and everyone gets focused on things like Ontario and getting to Ontario, but I actually like to recommend going east because it's a similar market.
Yeah.
So it allows you to get into a new market and get accustomed to the new market before you jump into something like Ontario, where there's kind of like a whole different level of competition almost.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. Yeah. Now you know a guy.
Well, I think that's what it sort of takes because what, as you know, Dwayne, because, I know it's hard when you guys you don't have, first, you don't have a large population.
Right.
You're spread out over a fair size. You're not the size of BC, clearly, but it's a fair size. But there's a lot of gaps in between. I mean, you're windy roads. You're not, we're not autobahn, autostrada highways. You know what I mean. It's different. It's like
Mm.
BC. Nothing's easy. Nothing's quick. If you're in the Lower Mainland, fine, but outside of that, it's tough to move shit. Like
Mhm.
for us, if we wanted to do some work with you, is I guess we would also have to talk about how to get the product to you. Where are we shipping it? Like if I'm shipping from Vancouver to you, where am I shipping them? Halifax, or like where's it going?
Yeah, so we're actually based in Truro, Nova Scotia, which
Yep.
is an hour north of Halifax.
Easy to get
Um,
to.
Very easy to get to. In fact, Truro's known as the hub of the Maritimes, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So both Trans Canada and major provincial highways intersect where we are,
Perfect.
and super easy to get to.
Because I think that's been the fear from, like, if you talk to people like even me, I don't know. I mean, I
Mm.
know people now out there, but you never know how to. I think this is where it's going to be really cool for you, and I think it's going to be cool for a bunch of BC brand buddies that maybe
Mhm.
we finally have a chance to play out there. We just have to figure out how to get
Mm.
stuff, because costly.
Yep.
Like Phil's saying, it's the same thing, right? The reason we
Mm.
all go to Ontario because as far as it is for both of us, it's a lot less expensive. As soon as
Right.
you guys have to get pallets to BC, or I got to get pallets now to Nova Scotia, it becomes challenging. But
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
You're right.
super
It's
excited
it's
that
a
there's a way
challenge,
to
but
do this.
yeah, I think so too. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's a way to do this, and I do think it's an interesting market that you can get into, expand, learn about a new region, you know,
Well, I'm doing the same
but
thing you
not
are,
be
Phil. Like,
completely out of your depth, right? So
yeah,
I think
it's like
that's, yeah,
hopping over Ontario is not the worst thing, right? Like,
yeah,
you can tell me I'm running it personally, right? I'm thinking, shit, how do I use Dwayne on this one? Because if I can skip Ontario for the short term and deal with the Maritimes, they're kind of at least like BC people, because
Mhm.
we'll piss and moan about the center because they get everything. And it's a lot more complicated for us to do shit in our areas. So maybe there's some really
yeah.
cool stuff to do here. And we
I
know
like it.
you, so we like you, and we trust you. So
Yeah,
this could
yeah,
be really cool.
yeah.
Another thing to consider too is, because our population base here is small, your risk is very low.
Yeah.
We're 3 million people. So, if you, let's be frank, if you totally messed it up, right? Like, who cares? Um, you mess it up in a population base of, 15, 20 million people, that's going to be real expensive for you.
Ontario can bury you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And if there's a collective interest, like,
Yeah.
we'll find ways to, find a more efficient transportation that, it's just a matter of us working together, right? So it's
Yeah.
when all of you need to, just figure out a way all on your own that it gets real expensive. So, we're certainly well known to find a pathway and find a way. We're incredibly resilient here in Atlantic Canada. So if there's a will, there's a way. We'll
Right.
figure it out, and we've got great relationships with the transportation companies here as well, right? So talking to them might be the way to find that solution.
Right.
Who knows?
So are you running your own trucks as well, or do you do a bit of
Yeah,
both? So you're doing some, you can't drive like to
right.
every corner of the provinces. It'll drive you mental. You'll be on the road all the time.
Exactly. And, for some places, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
So we'll instead, go third party
Right.
to service that community. As we grow, I think our route structure will grow along with it.
Right.
But again, we need to do this in a sustainable way too. I mean, we're
Right.
literally 3 weeks in here of delivering boxes, so we're having a great time. But we also want to be able to keep expanding. Ideally, we want the brand of Maritime Good Food to be what the stores are seeing, whether it's our vans or it's the T-shirt that the fellows
Right.
are wearing when they make the delivery. That's super important to us. And it's funny, even the selection of people to drive for us, like you have to exude the values that we
Uh,
project. Because if you're not a personable, friendly person that can solve problems on the fly, you're probably not going to be a great fit for what we're
right.
trying to do.
Right. Well, because driver sometimes is the only contact that a
Right.
lot of people may
Yeah.
have, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they are total
Yeah.
representative of the company. Are
Yeah.
Yeah.
you are you finding brands coming at you fast and furious right now? Because I got a feeling there's been some distribution gaps, um, probably for longer than not. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming there's a line of people waiting.
It's been robust. So I have a hard time not exploring opportunity, as my
I,
team will attest.
yeah, I get
Um,
that.
However, yeah, we're trying to focus on the companies that we have. Um, we've got about a dozen or so that we're extremely active with right now. We've got a slew of others that are probably going to get active real soon, but we also wanted to make sure that our systems and our processes are in place so that we're doing this well. Um, but yeah, I'm already starting to think about maybe I don't have a big enough warehouse.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
I
got to
love that.
manage it, man. You got to manage because the trick is you
I
got to
love
make sure
that.
it moves too. And we're talking,
Yeah.
so you're doing all channels, right? You're doing food, drug,
Yeah,
so like Lawton's is a play potentially, or things like that, or independence, clearly,
yeah,
health. Like it doesn't matter. Like you're more than willing and capable of.
yeah. And the only one we're probably not going to spend as much time with will be the food service
Right.
sector. They're well served. Now, if we have situations where folks are able to meet a minimum order, we're happy to make that happen.
Right.
But it's primarily the retail side of things that we're focused on.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome. If folks want to find you, do you have website, socials? Where do what's the best way to get you?
Yeah, I mean, a great way is LinkedIn for me personally. But if you check out maritimegoodfood.ca, you can reach us there. I haven't spent a lot of time on the socials for Maritime Good Food yet, but there's a way to contact us through the website. And like I said, if you jump onto LinkedIn, Dwayne Boudreau, there's not that many of them around. Um, you'll be able to find me pretty quick.
Okay.
I'm
And then
excited.
if you are interested, we'll drop all the links below. So just make sure you click a link and it'll get you to Dwayne. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dwayne, for doing this.
Oh,
This is awesome. We're
you bet.
excited.
Super exciting, man. You might be
Yeah.
hearing from me in the next month. We may have to do so. Well, you know what? I mean, it's hard when you don't know people out there. I know person now and I trust you. Makes it changes the game, right?
Same. And
Uh,
listen, the work you guys are doing is fabulous. I know you're building a fantastic reputation across Atlantic Canada, and likewise, you know, I'd love to send folks your way that you can help with growing their business in
Thanks.
other regions
I
too. So
appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks.